Let's give it up for Matt.
Testing. It does. Good morning, everyone. My name is Matthew Hansard, and I am the CEO and founder of Final Thoughts. Final Thoughts connects those with serious illness to their loved ones during and after life. We tout the therapeutic benefits of a legacy project. What is a legacy project? A legacy project is anything a patient can do to make sure they stay in the lives of those they love and care about forever. It's as simple as making some future birthday or anniversary cards, or as complex as spending some time with a counselor, nurse, or social worker using a life interview questionnaire to create a biography of your life. Once we learned about legacy projects, we knew we needed to learn more about the space. We started reaching out to nurses, counselors, and social workers to find out how they complete legacy projects. What things were they doing were the same, and what things were different. One of our early advocates was Wendy Griffith. She is the Director of Palliative Care at MD Anderson in Houston. Wendy has probably completed more legacy projects than anyone, and I think most would consider her a thought leader in the space. She told us how to do it. She gave us all her resources, and she said, I think a great way for you to learn about this is to go do some legacy projects. So that's what we started doing. We started meeting with patients in their home. Not techie, pen, paper, iPhone, stand to record their responses. We started to see the things that Wendy and the other providers told us, that anxiety, depression, and guilt were the 1, 2, and 3 mental health issues that came from serious diagnosis. Anxiety around a life that seemed out of control, depression from a life that now is not as fun or rewarding as it used to be, and guilt. I did something to cause this illness to myself. Through the Legacy Project, we saw alleviation of all these mental health issues. We wanted to know, is this something that patients would really use? We ran a Facebook ad campaign targeted just at 1% of the people that had hashtag cancer sucks. About 2,700 people was the impression. We had 900 click-throughs to our website, and our email address, support@Final Thoughts, filled with emails from patients asking if we could help them complete their legacy projects. Our platform was not nearly ready. We were still pen and paper. We shut down the campaign and went forward with that validation. One giant problem that we still saw remaining after the alleviation of the mental health issues was a massive breakdown in interfamily relationships when someone is diagnosed with a serious illness. The patient, they feel alone in their illness. Nobody understands how I feel. Family members, they want to help their family member with the serious illness, but they don't know how. They're no domain expert in the space. And then finally, in every family, someone steps up to be the primary caregiver. This primary caregiver feels resentment towards their other family members that aren't helping as much, and the other family members feel guilty for not engaging like they did. For nurses, counselors, and social workers, for our providers, this was a highly time-consuming process to create these legacy projects, taking upwards of 40 hours to complete. The creator of this project ended up being the creator, storer, and disseminator of the project, the end-all be-all, creating a high emotional toll. Very difficult for them to figure out when to introduce the concept of legacy work to the patient. You do it too late, you missed your window of opportunity, and no ability to help patients in an outpatient space. So how do we work on solving these problems? Our big X that we still had on there was an improvement in interfamily relationships. The others were solved. We came across a university study focused on breast cancer patients where they used a randomized gift giving from the patient's family to the patient to help alleviate the feeling alone. Family members now felt like they were doing something to help. The patient felt like someone cared, and the primary caregivers receiving gifts, they knew they were appreciated. So what does Final Thoughts do? We create digital legacy projects. How does that help our partners, our providers? No longer do they spend 40 hours completing a project. They now can spend 30 minutes onboarding the patient into the platform. No longer are they the end-all, be-all of the project. Our platform takes on that role. It creates, stores, and disseminates the project. As part of normal onboarding, they're introduced to Final Thoughts. No longer is the nurse, counselor, social worker wondering about when to refer it, and it absolutely works in an outpatient setting. So what is Final Thoughts? Again, one more time. We digitize the legacy project creation. We have a very simple application. You can create your legacy. You can send gifts. We have a community feature, ability to invite friends, a feed on improving your legacy, and then your legacy feed, which is your profile. Very simple. Patient clicks on the answer or the question they'd like to answer. It takes them to the upload. Open your camera, record the answer to your question. That thought now can be shared with anyone or everyone in your group, and then you pick a delivery day. Today, tomorrow, next week, at death, or even after life. One of the most important things, it's pointless to have a legacy project if you don't have anyone to view it. Very soft onboarding for the patient's family. I have created a beautiful legacy project. I need you to see it. I need you to onboard to Final Thoughts as well. One of the first things that the patient's family is notified is the improvement in inter-family relationships that can be found by giving a gift. We choose high-end gifts that perform a need and a service for our patient. The family member buys the gift, the patient is notified a gift was given, and then the details are sent to their email. How do we make money? Affiliate marketing agreement. Again, high-end referrals to high-end companies that have high touch. We believe we can see an affiliated marketing agreement that leads us to $50 per year per patient in revenue. We will start onboarding these patients, but we're not going to use our Facebook marketing campaign. We're not going to try to onboard the 2.5 million people that have cancer in the United States. We are going to use enterprise referrals. Smaller organizations like Visiting Nurses Associations, running much like startups, they're still looking for their value propositions. We're going to go to them. We're going to say, we will make you the rock stars of legacy creation. Anytime your upstream referral partners hear that or feel they have a patient that's in need, they refer them to you. You get the other services. You're trying to build Medicaid, Medicare for the other services. We're going to help you onboard more patients to your organization. And then our large organizations, obviously integrated healthcare systems, giant hospital systems, hospice networks and palliative care facilities. We are onboarding our very first large client, Seasons Palliative Care, on the 22nd of April. They have 20,000 patients. If we can do as well as the normal space does, of 15%, we could see 5,000 patients coming right into our platform on that very first day of onboarding. And again, we're not selling this to the nurses, or not selling this to the patient. The nurses, counselors, and social workers are using our platform to complete something they're already doing more efficiently. What is our market size? 85 million people living with serious illness in the United States. We're trying to address the 2.5 million cancer patients. Right now, legacy projects are being done at about a 15%. That would give us about 400,000 patients. $50 per year makes us a $20 million company, just onboarding and using the people that are already doing it without actually increasing the metric at all. Go-to-market strategy, we will leverage our spheres of influence to make relationships with the doctors and hospital networks that we already know, making our appointment, making our sales call. What is our competitive advantage? The process is currently a manual process. We are looking to digitize it. Once again, we are helping patients create digital legacy projects. We will turn our current competition into our partners. Okay.
Quickly, you guys, I'm honored to be able to coach Matthew, and the difference from yesterday, and Malcolm can say this, is like mind-blowing. The amount of time you put, like, I get it now, like in a way that I did not yesterday, and I just want to commend you in the obvious care and time you put into listening to our feedback and implementing it, because wow, what a change, and it was really powerful.
Great presentation. It really just hits emotional chords, which is a huge selling point. And also, I love how you recapped and you really just kept breaking it down and reiterating over and over what you're doing, and your passion came flooding out of you, and it was amazing. Great job.
Thank you for applying the feedback. This looks great. You and I had some conversations about some of the changes. One of the things I think that you can definitely improve on is the pacing. Obviously, you didn't make it to the end. It felt like it took a while, I don't know the exact time, but a few minutes to get to what is the product, what is the solution. So finding a way to condense that first part, I think is really going to improve this presentation a lot, but it's so much clearer than yesterday. Congratulations.
Yeah, so I'll echo that. I think that you spent an awful lot of time articulating the range of problems that everybody had. I don't know, like 5 slides or something like that. And when you think about your 8 minutes, you have to think about, can you get that down to 1 or 2 slides so that, because I think for most people, you get it, yeah. I mean, the presentation was solid, it was great, but I thought you were gonna run out of time, just because you spent that much time there. From an investor perspective, and again, this is the first, I'm looking at it from each of the presentations as an investor rather than as someone who's here to enjoy a presentation. Yeah. So one question that's going to come up, and you don't have to answer it now, but think about it, and because you might want to address it in your presentation, is switching from a process where somebody's sitting down and helping someone with a legacy project. Because a cancer patient is going to be someone who's got so much going through their heads, and think about how's it going to work? Is it going to be them by themselves answering their questions and posting stuff, or are they going to be helping with family, and think about the adoption challenges that you might have, because that'll come up in an investor question Q&A.
So we have been doing it both ways with our patients, straight digital, all us as well, trying to find more simple.
And mentioning that would be, I think that would help. Or safety. Sure.
I think you can distill even further, which I think is echoing just everything. This is a great presentation. I got it quickly, and then it's just like, okay, you get to how are you going to use money for the first dollar in, or how are you going to make money? I think the other piece is when you define the market size or your target market, final thoughts is very broad. Everyone who's alive will have final thoughts, but then you focus them on, let's say, just cancer patients. And so I think understanding kind of why this isn't relevant for everyone who is why this isn't useful for everyone who's going to die.
I was just going to say really quickly, I don't know if I missed it or not, but some sort of credibility slide as to sort of like who is behind Final Thoughts. I'm able to go into these spaces because, I know you talked about connecting to the nurses who brought you in, but who is this person that, it's like, oh, okay, he knows what he's talking about because, or whoever's on your team.
I'm so happy to see this. I worked on similar work in grad school, and it's so hard to kind of distill in from all of the issues that are going through to kind of find it. Yeah, exactly, and just to kind of find that market. So I think that's really good. I think going further, especially because you have a lot of different sides of it. The side with the family members, and how to kind of break some of those broken down relationships. That will be a place that I think, like, seeing more of the kind of the interaction design through that would be really important to just understand how that actually plays out.
You hear the stories from people and their daughters now making their daughters like this is what we live with. You're already it's really good to be start to it is hard.
And to that point, I thought the business model when you led up to that was going to be, it's almost a Kickstarter for family to be able to everyone contribute, direct money to say, hey, when someone has cancer, and if you're not there being the actual caregiver, this is just what you do. Like, this becomes the standard norm for everyone who has an illness. They contribute, and you're making a vig on that contribution. That's where I thought it was going?
Absolutely.
Okay, got it.
Thanks. Great presentation. I guess it's maybe a little bit more on the branding side for the logo. I think maybe if I don't know what it's called. Yeah. So because of Final Thought and I hate to say it, flatlining. But I think just that visually might help with the kind of the company. Yeah.
Maybe the whole thing.
But great presentation.